If you are a CMO or a founder and someone on your team has recently said programmatic SEO is dead, I want to walk you through something that you would fully agree with. The argument makes sense on surface. Google's helpful content updates have wiped out a lot of programmatic SEO over the last 2 years. AI overviews are eating clicks. Thin templated pages are getting de-indexed. All of that is true. But there is a company running programmatic SEO play right now that is not getting touched by any of that. And when you look at why, it tells you something important about what programmatic SEO actually is and what it should look like in 2026. That company's name is Lusha. Let me tell you exactly what they have built. If you open Lusha's organic keyword data in Href today, here is what you see. They rank for German building materials. They rank for software development companies in the UK. They rank for marketing agencies in Nigeria. They rank for China manufacturing company lists. Now, the obvious question is, what does any of this have to do with Lusha's product? Lusha sells contact data and sales intelligence. They have nothing to do with building material or clothing brands. If you click on the URLs ranking for these keywords, it all starts to make sense. Let me give you an example. This is Lusha page for accounting companies in the UAE. These are real company names, real industries, real locations, and organized into a searchable directory. Here is one for manufacturing companies in China. Same structure. Software development companies in Romania, event companies in UAE, marketing agencies in Canada. What Lusha has built is a B2B company directory. Thousands of pages organized by industry and geography, and the content on every single of these pages come from their own database. Verified company records they have spent years building. That is the last part of the whole story. We'll come back to that. Now, before we go any further, I want to flag something because I think it is important to be honest here rather than build a cleaner story that the data actually supports. Who is actually searching for software development companies in the UK? It could be an SDR building a target account list. That's a Lusha's buyer. It could be a startup founder looking to hire a dev shop, a procurement manager trying to source a vendor, or someone doing basic industry research. Now, the intent on these keywords is genuinely mixed. Not every person landing on these pages is going to become Lusha's customer, and they know that. So, why the strategy still work? Now, if you look at the keyword difficulty numbers, most of these keywords sit at difficulty from 0 to 15, and Lusha has built thousands of these pages. They do not need every visitor to convert. They need enough of them to be the right buyer, and even a founder looking to hire a dev shop lands on their page full of company contact data. Now, the path to product still exists for such a buyer. It's just a different buyer at a different moment. Now, here is the path I actually want you to pay attention to in case you are thinking of building or doing such level of programmatic SEO. The common belief right now is that programmatic SEO is risky because Google has gotten very good at identifying and removing thin templated content. And that belief is correct. If you build thousands of pages by taking a template and swapping in a city name or an industry keyword, Google will find that pattern and remove those pages from results. We've seen that happen repeatedly over last 2 years. But here is what people miss when they say programmatic SEO is dead. The programmatic SEO that died had one thing in common. The content was generated or templated. Someone took a structure, filled in the variables, and published at scale. Lusha's pages don't have that problem. But here is what people miss when they say programmatic SEO is dead. The programmatic SEO that died had one thing in common. The content was generated or templated. Someone took a structure, filled in variables, and published at scale. Lusha's pages do not have that problem. The content on their pages is not generated, it is their actual database. When I say database, I mean real company records, real verified data that Lusha's team has built over the years. Not replicate that with a template. A competitor cannot copy those pages without having the underlying data. That is important. Google cannot identify it as a thin content because it is not thin. It's a genuine directory of real companies with real information. This is the distinction that most people are missing. It's not that programmatic SEO is dead. It is programmatic SEO built on generated or scraped content that is dead. Programmatic SEO built on proprietary data you actually own is completely different thing. The second objection you'll hear is, even if these pages rank, AI overviews are taking the clicks. Nobody is scrolling past the AI answer anymore. That is true for a lot of content. If someone searches what is sales intelligence, the AI answers it. The click disappears. But if someone searches accounting firm in Singapore or software development companies in Canada, the AI cannot give them Lusha's directory. It does not have Lusha's data. It cannot show the specific verified company records, the employee counts, or the contact availability that Lusha's pages have. The searcher still needs to click through to get what they came for. This is another reason Lusha's place survives the AI era. Proprietary structured data is exactly what AI overviews cannot replicate. The AI can, of course, summarize an article. It cannot reproduce a data it does not have the access to. So if you're thinking about whether this applies to you, here is the actual question worth asking. What data do you already own that your buyer would find useful if it were organized and searchable? A recruiting platform has data on companies that are actively hiring. That's a directory waiting to be built. And many companies have done that. A logistics platform has pricing and transit data by route and region. That is something their buyers are already searching for. The pattern Lusha is following works when the content is your data, not content about your data, not content generated to sound like your data, but the actual records and information that lives inside your product. If you are sitting on a proprietary data set and you have not turned it into indexable, searchable pieces, that is the gap worth looking at. Now, if I talk about Lusha particularly, they are not competing for best sales intelligence platform. Of course, I mean, on a broader scale, they might be, but they built something their buyers search for before they even think about a sales tool. And they built it using a data that nobody has, which means nobody else can copy the pages even if they wanted to. That is what programmatic SEO looks like when it is done right in 2026. These are not templates, not generated content. This is a database you already own, and you turn that into pages that answer real searches.